Welcome back to another Jenner EOS sponsored Pomelo Pitch Deck, where we dive into the most relevant pitches for what's happening over in the EOSIO ecosystem. I'm excited because, kind of a kin in the space with us, with the other project that I'm associated with, to sit down and talk about building of metaverses in the Web3 era. And so we have Dan on the line. If you don't know who Dan is, he's kind of the founder and visionary behind Immersys, which is kind of a ground on up built metaverse from scratch. You guys have been doing some really interesting things. You've been around for a while. This will be your second Pomelo grant season.
Third.
So I'm a third. Sorry, I
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
keep missing people that were on the first one. This is a
Yeah.
thing I keep doing. But yeah, welcome back to the Pitch Deck show,
Thank you.
Dan. How are you and how have you been? And give us an update on Immersys.
Yeah. Things have been good. I mean, a lot of changes. Obviously, the market's not where you want to see it, but we've been doing our thing. Just keep building is kind of the mantra I feel like of everybody. If you can. And yeah, we're doing good. We're excited. We got some exciting things coming out the next month or so. Some things that we feel like we've been building for almost 11 months finally going to be released in this next week. But part of that is actually a portion of what the Pomelo grant that we're doing is kind of focused on, is the idea of basically tools to allow for burning of non-fungible tokens for fungible tokens, based off of basically a dynamically altering pool based off of oversupply. So we found, obviously, through our own, so that's kind of how we approach the Pomelo grant, is we design tools that are going to be usable by everybody, not just ourselves, to solve problems that also help our project as well. So the idea that you can basically decrease an oversupply of a non-fungible token, because in our mind, any any non-fungible is supposed to be a unique one of one asset in a way, but the way that EOSIO technology allows you to use it is like you could turn every NFT into a fungible token, but you don't need that many NFTs, and it just takes so much storage on the blockchain and things like that. So kind of offering the ability for you to incentivize the burning of fungible or non-fungible tokens for a fungible token is something that I think other projects can really use.
So I think one thing that's unique about you guys as well is you're actually taking full advantage of Pomelo, right? Like, so Pomelo, it's a public good, but it's more than that. A lot of people, I think, are confusing Pomelo with being EOS centric, but it's actually not. It's like EOS IO, right? So I mean, you guys are running on the Wax blockchain, right? Which is one of the best blockchains really that has been built for NFTs and optimized, towards gameplay and things like that. Definitely plugged into the EOSI technology, but a little bit different crew running over there than what would normally be running on EOS, right? So I think that's quite interesting. And since we had you on the last, if my timeline's right, since we had you on the last Pomelo pitch deck, you guys, came out and you offered basically like shops that people could go in and they could create their own shops, and you had kind of like a set of building blocks that people could utilize to customize all of that on, I think it was your first land sale, really, that incorporated those elements. So I'm curious, other than that, since the last season of funding, what have you guys been able to utilize the funding that you got from season 2, and even as far back as season 1, to be able to build from the
So the
Pomelo
big
grants?
thing for Pomelo season 2, what we were doing is the ability to import and spawn out EOS NFTs into the world. So now, instead of only being able to decorate properties or showcase NFTs from the Wax blockchain, you're now able to do that for EOS NFTs as well inside it. But we also took it a little bit further. Even though it was a ton of money, we were able to obviously spend a little bit more time and add 7 other blockchains support for their NFTs as well in there. So we can verify assets from 7 different wallets and allow users to place those out. We included things, blockchains like Solana, Ethereum, Flow, Polygon, and what there's one other one that I'm forgetting, and then Wax, and then EOS. But so we that's what we basically did. It was an addition to how we can verify assets with additional wallets, essentially.
So walk us through, right? So walk us through a little bit how you were able to plug NFTs from Flow and Ethereum and Avalanche into the Immersys ecosystem. I mean, there must also be like an export mechanism, and so this is kind of not something that a majority of metaverses have the capacity to be able to do. Most metaverses are sitting on one blockchain; they're only functioning, on one blockchain, which you guys are in a sense on Wax, but you've also been able to incorporate these other blockchains. So how does that kind of look for somebody who hasn't actually been inside and seen
So
the
it's a
game?
Yeah,
Like that.
so it's really a matter of we've been working on creating basically an Immersys account, and that account, similar to some other games that are out there, like Splinterlands or something like that, right? Where they have the Hive wallet, and then you link up other blockchain wallets up to that account that you have, right? We do pretty much the same exact thing. We have the Immersys account that you're signing into, that will require a Wax wallet in order to participate in the game and earn the NFTs and things like that. But in addition to that, you have the ability to link up the other wallets in the game, so that we can verify those assets as well. And then, as you mentioned, the importing process is the same. So it's essentially, we need to know what the template is on the blockchain, so we can find which APIs to pull and verify the assets from. And then we also need the asset to import into the world so that we can actually spawn it out. That's kind of the big thing, is you want the interoperability factor, but that's going to be a big problem to solve. Right now, what we can offer as our solution really right now is providing the import services for the person.
Now I'm gonna take a little bit of a segue rant here. I apologize, but I think that this is really important, right? Because we're in a state of market right now where like everybody's pissed off at everybody else because their NFTs or their economies aren't holding value, right? And so I want to just highlight this, right? Because you guys are a play to earn ecosystem, right? You're across multiple blockchains, and I think it's really important to understand that play to earn doesn't mean the project or the people who are playing make money indefinitely, right? Like, we're not here to promote an ecosystem where everyone can just sit on their ass and get paid out for playing video games all day. Now, that's maybe possible in some cases, but I want to just kind of ask you, what does play to earn mean in the grand scheme of things when you parallel it against previous gaming ideologies where you go out and you buy a game and you buy updates and you buy goods? How is Immersys or some of these other metaverses different from that? And in your opinion, what's kind of the biggest thing that play to earn has to offer the modern gamer,
Yeah.
whether they be in Africa or whether they be in America, right?
So I think just the nature of the blockchain, I think what it is that the businesses that are going to work are the ones that are able to incentivize or give away as much as possible, like as much as possible to the actual user, that you can. So from a play to earn standpoint, you're going to say that the value that you're providing the user is your game. It's the entertainment that you can provide through that game, right? Part of that entertainment aspect is what brings people to the chain, right? So I think chain should value play to earn, because I truly just don't believe people are going to come to the blockchain to buy your token, right? They're going to come through some form of entertainment, whether they want to play a video game, whether their favorite artist is on it, making music or making art, or they're releasing a concert and their tickets are on it, right? There's going to be some type of element of coming to the blockchain through entertainment, or a friend tells you to come there because you want to play with them or something like that, right? So play to earn, in my mind, is it's a way to provide play. The play portion is the entertainment factor that gets somebody in there, right? The earn portion is how much of the value of our game can we pass on to the user, with us still being able to function as a game, right? So what can we do in our game to allow value to be built, whether it's time commitment in the game, whether they have to spend, time earning an item that everybody wants, and it allows them access to some feature or some mechanic or some look or design, or whatever it is that we can provide them. We need to allow it can't be us selling it to people. So I think the way that you're seeing a lot of games approach things, where you're selling the things to the people rather than giving them the opportunity to build the things for them to sell, that's the issue. So you need to be allowing these people to come in here, spend time in your game. That time that they spend in the game has to be valuable for them, to basically build and then sell themselves and offer that time that they spent in the game. But yeah, you're basically, in my mind, I think the play aspect is what brings the people to the chain. The earn aspect is how hard you incentivize while still being able to operate the game that you're providing them.
Yeah, and I think we're at a very kind of early point in the idea of Web3 and metaverses in particular, right? I don't think that the mainstream hardcore gamers have really caught on to the benefits of what blockchain can bring, what authentication in certain items and things like that can bring. So I'm excited, but of course this all takes a lot of time, a lot of development, a lot of trial and error to get these types of things off the ground. So now you're here for your third pitch deck. You're here for your third proposal. You can see the roadmap and everything. I'll drop the link for your proposal and the website in the comments in a minute. But if you could just maybe go over what you guys are looking to use these funds from the third Pomelo grants for. What are you going to develop? What are you planning on allocating? Where, when, and I mean, if you have a timeline, what's the timeline on it?
Yeah, so essentially this one is for the ability. It's a interface slash UI front end, so that users can set up their own token pools in order to burn NFTs from their collection to issue out a fungible token in return for the burning. And it does three really interesting things from our experience, which is, first off, it creates scarcity of the NFT, which is any NFT that's over 1 mint in our eyes is an overmint. It frees up RAM from the blockchain and yourself. If you've issued out something and you're trying to free up RAM from the blockchain, it frees up resources on the blockchain. And then it also creates a unique arbitrage opportunity between EOS token to whatever your token is and the NFT token. Same with how it functions or will function for us, which is the difference between Wax, Fate, and the NFT. So it creates a really powerful tool to not only incentivize your collectors and reward your collectors, but it also creates a mechanic for freeing up resources and arbitrage opportunities. It's if you think about it, it's a really I like to think of it in a bigger picture, where it's almost like this meta pool, where it would be cool if every single NFT that ever existed could be burned for a portion of a token. It kind of creates this meta pool in a way, where you can kind of trade in between every token using it, because the pools adjust dynamically based off of how many resources are in it. But that's way out there. But it's a really cool mechanic that could be used a ton of different ways to kind of build and reward your collectors, essentially.
I mean, I personally get a little bit annoyed with collections that are on multiple blockchains, because we see it sometimes in the art and other PFP NFT space, right? We'll see a collection launch on one blockchain, and then we'll see them port over to another blockchain and release the exact same thing. Right. And so it gets a little bit annoying, because they're just moving from one blockchain to another. Now, what you guys are doing, though, I think is completely different. And this is why it works for me on a metaverse tokenomics, level that is, in my opinion, where we should be aiming to be. right? Because now what you have is you have this extract kind of mechanism that goes to multiple blockchains. And like you say, it allows users or players to be able to kind of play the market in the way that like you would for a regular financial market, but you're doing it, from within the dynamics of the game, right? And so it's almost a learning tool in a way too, which I really like about it. And I just think that that's fascinating. There's not very many projects that are doing that. There's quite a few projects that are, maybe on one or two EOSIO chains, but there's very few projects that are actually bridging across to chains like Solana and, Ethereum. I mean, I can think of, other than, the other projects that I'm associated with and the Meta Collect guys, like I can think of very few projects that are doing this with, NFTs, which I think is like utterly fascinating. So yeah, just hats off. And I'm really looking forward to seeing like how this development that you guys are putting through is kind of implemented by the users. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see, because the other thing is, like, think from the NFT collector side of things, right? NFTs are fundamentally very illiquid, right? Like they're very hard to sell, right? It depends solely based off of the NFT marketplace that they're on. By allowing you to instantly burn for a token, you're providing instant liquidity for every single asset in your collection. And I feel like there's just so many ways that you can use the mechanic to really kind of, you know, along with other things that you could do with your token, right? This is just a piece of a puzzle that can be used to enhance your collection in any way that you see that it can be used.
So I think we can do this. I'm gonna try anyway. Let's see.
So I've got my essay written. So now I'm going to show you how I use Grammarly to edit.
Nope, that's not gonna work. That's fun. I mean, anyway.
Here, the metaverse, aiming to change everything. Welcome to Immersys, a virtual world built on the blockchain, where every item in the game is an NFT. NFTs are digitally unique game items players can gather, craft, and loot. This multiplayer metaverse features PvP and PvE combat and play-to-earn mechanics, meaning players can earn as they play. As you play, you will earn valuable NFTs that are minted directly to your crypto wallet as rewards. Gone are the days where the items you earn in-game are locked away inside a single gaming platform. Immersys takes digital ownership to a whole new level and puts it where it belongs, in your hands. When you loot an item inside of Immersys, you own it. You can buy, trade, and sell NFT items you obtain for crypto. Immersys is building a player-created economy focused on players' digital ownership of items and progress. Start earning today and create your own part inside Immersys. Connect with other players and creators. Take part in the grind together. Immersys is a fully immersive experience, breathing new life into entertainment, where you truly experience the content you consume, whether you're battling a monster with a clan or running your own marketplace. You choose who you want to be in Immersys. Join thousands of other players in this adventure on the blockchain, where you are in control of how you play and what you earn. Are you ready to be immersed?
Are you ready?
Yeah. So, I mean, just in case you happen to miss what Dan said earlier, it's not only that you have NFTs in the game, it's pretty much like everything in the game is a potential NFT, right? I mean, it's not an NFT until you chop it down or you interact with it. But as soon as you do, then, it's transferred and you own it and you can do whatever you want with it. I mean, you could potentially burn it for 0 rewards if you're on Wax. I don't know why you would do that, but I think that's the main key for ownership, right? Is you have that ability to be able to interact with it. So
yeah, it's a pretty interesting economy, right? Like it's so weird that the game, every single thing in there is an NFT. It's just, I think that's the cool part about it is we just provide. I like to think of us as kind of this interface on top of the blockchain, but like all the items and everything that you earn in it is stored on the blockchain.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, usually we like to keep these a little bit on the shorter side. But if there's anything else that you'd like to shout out, but before we go.
No, I mean, I just want to, encourage you to check out the Pomelo grant if what I was maybe going over today, is something that you could see your project or anybody using. Definitely encourage them to donate. provide. Anybody that has, of course, thank you so much for contributing so far. And be sure to check out Immersys at immerses.io.
Yeah, and you can see the Pomelo grant proposal here in the comments and on the screen. And just remember, I mean, 1 EOS isn't very much, especially these days with a downturn market. But that 1 EOS is based off of a model plugged into a model of quadratic funding, which really amplifies the ability of all projects to be able to go out there and have some resources, especially in this bear market, to be able to develop, right? Because that's what we're doing right now. I think a lot of projects are developing, for the next run. And I mean, if you look at what happened the time before that and the time before that, when we come into these markets, that's when we can actually really see the progress. And so I just, thanks, Dan, for joining us. Thanks for pointing out that, these Pomelo grants are really quite integral, I think, in how we develop on EOS.io. And thanks for being a forerunner and figuring out ways to plug it into other blockchains that are even beyond the Pomelo grant system. It's just great.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we'll see you guys on the next Pomelo Pitch Deck. And yeah, that's it. We're out.